Good, happy Saturday morning, September 7, 2019. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this morning, so let's begin. First up, surf advisories in place as Hurricane Dorian expected to stay offshore. Officials say they're ready to deal with any flooding. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9.
Chapel Tractor has been in our family since 1955, when great-grandfather Pearlie and our grandfather George decided to sell tractors.
The 30th annual Hampton Beach Seafood Festival kicked off this afternoon. The crowd's hungry and the vendors busy. No sense that the remnants of a once powerful hurricane will be passing by our coast.
It's going to come tonight. It might hit us early tomorrow morning, and then the sun comes out for the rest of the weekend. That's what we've been told. And I've been talking to people from upstairs here.
But further out on the ocean, it's already affecting those whose livelihoods depend on it, including fishermen who are hunkered down.
So we did cancel today's whale watch, and we've canceled all trips for tomorrow. So our full-day fishing trip got canceled, our whale watch, and our morning half-day fishing trip.
Monitoring the marine forecast a must.
They take measurements right from the buoys out in the ocean. It said, I believe, 9 to 11-foot waves expected for Saturday and 40-knot winds.
Otherwise, authorities say the onshore impacts are something they're used to.
I do expect up on the North Shore you'll see some splashover issues, some flooding of the back streets as possible. We're prepared to deal with that and reroute traffic as we need to, as we always do.
Dorian, no match for the Seafood Fest. It's 50 food and 65 craft vendors, and an anticipated crowd of 100,000 appear to be in the clear.
I don't anticipate any of those type of issues to affect the festival because this is an area that generally we do not see water in.
Authorities will be monitoring the situation, the same with fishermen and those deep sea and whale-watching businesses. Their trips for Sunday so far are still on. We're live at Hampton. Jennifer Crompton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Plane lands with gear up at Nashua Airport. Nobody injured. Nobody was injured when a small plane landed with its gear up at the Nashua Airport on Friday afternoon. The plane landed about 4 p.m., airport manager Chris Lynch said. It's unclear why the gear was not lowered, but Lynch said the plane sustained only minimum damage. It appears that the pilot was the only person on board, Lynch said. The Nashua Fire Department responded, and the Federal Aviation Administration was notified of the incident. Friends, relatives of homicide victim rally at State House for answers. Trish Haynes was last seen in summer of 2018. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Andy Hirschberger.
We're here today to tell you good folks about Cozy Cabin Rustics Furniture and Mattress Bargain Barn. We only use real logs, hardwoods, and reclaimed barn boards to build our quality furniture. And the best prices on mattresses made by Simmons and Serta.
Now at 3 convenient locations. Yep.
They are searching for answers they feel they deserve. Friday afternoon, about a dozen friends and family of Trish Haynes rallied on the State House lawn to hand out flyers and draw attention to the case of this woman who vanished more than a year ago.
We're here because we want to keep it in the public eye, because there are so many cold cases in the state of New Hampshire that never get any answers or nobody ever gets arrested, and I'm not going to let this be one of them.
Haynes was last seen alive in the summer of 2018 around Grafton and Danbury. In July, authorities said during the course of the investigation, human remains were found in Grafton which were identified as Haynes. Her case is now being treated as a homicide.
I feel extremely bad for the family, heartbroken. Like I said, I want justice to be served for Trish. She was an amazing girl with lots of potential. Great with kids. Overall, amazing person.
Those close to Haynes know these investigations can take time, but that doesn't make them less anxious for answers.
A lot of times when it's gone on for so long, the victims are forgotten about. And this is one way that the families are able to shed light and just remember, don't forget.
We spoke with the lead attorney from the Attorney General's office just a short time ago, and he said that this investigation is progressing, but at this time, no additional information is available. Putting live in Concord, I'm Andy Hirschberger, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Counterfeit money found in several New Hampshire towns. If you do look at those notes, it's quite obvious that they're not real money. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
We're here today to tell you good folks about Cozy Cabin Rustics Furniture and Mattress Bargain Barn. We carry all types of furniture, including American-made Adirondack and real logs, hardwoods, and reclaimed barn boards to build our quality furniture.
Now at 3 convenient locations. Yep.
Right now, Claremont police are warning people to be on the lookout for counterfeit cash. Officials say the fake bills were found this week in Claremont, Sunapee, and Lebanon. At first glance, the bills look real, but if you look closer, they have Chinese lettering and are missing many of the security features U.S. currency is known for.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Kennett High football players suspended from games after video shows duck being beaten. Incident took place at football camp, officials say. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Kristen Carosa.
Chapel Tractor has been in our family since 1955, when great-grandfather Pearlie and our grandfather George decided to...
These are still photos taken from the video captured in Moultonborough roughly 2 weeks ago. Wild ducks were lured from the water with several football players from Kennett High School standing around. And then the unthinkable happened.
The heinous activity of a duck being hit over the head with a broomstick, I guess, is what ended up happening. And essentially, one of the other students euthanized the duck. It was maimed pretty badly.
Coaches were informed, and then police and Fish and Game were brought in to investigate.
These students are juveniles, so they certainly can't be charged with anything. Their parents would be charged if we charged them, and the fine amounts would be minuscule. So suspensions and community service, everyone agreed, was the effective punishment.
The superintendent says some students ended up with game suspensions, community service, and more.
Some mental health pieces, social emotional pieces, and educational components related to it.
Since the incident happened, the school has received many phone calls from people who are outraged about what happened.
You do have very strong opinions both ways, and you try to come back to what you think is reasonable. And also recognizing that these are adolescents that are that make bad choices, and this was a grievous mistake.
The superintendent tells us that each of the students involved have different punishment levels based on their involvement in the incident. Reporting in Moultonborough, Kristen Carosa, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Presidential candidates stream into New Hampshire for state Democratic convention. Candidates hope to share message with New Hampshire voters. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9.
Chapel Tractor has been in our family since 1955, when great-grandfather Pearlie and our grandfather George decided to sell tractors out of their barn with a work ethic.
A busy day on the eve of the New Hampshire Democratic Party convention. Tim Ryan held an intimate town hall focusing on reproductive freedom at To Share Brewing in Manchester.
The nuts and bolts of New Hampshire is in small little rooms like this, and I know that. It's a great opportunity here that they give to all of the candidates, so we're all on an equal footing here.
Candidate Marianne Williamson was also in Manchester Friday night for a pre-convention party, meeting with voters at Stark Brewing.
The problem is not the American people. The problem is the gap that exists between who we are as people and how our government behaves.
Not far away, Cory Booker spoke with voters at the New Hampshire Institute of Politics about the significance of this election.
I think this election is a referendum on who we are and who we must be to each other. This is an election that we Democrats will make a mistake if we make this election all about what we're against.
And on the Seacoast, candidate Kamala Harris spoke at the Portsmouth Democrats' annual banquet.
We are the party who right now, I believe, is fighting not only on behalf of Democrats, but fighting in the best interest of these United States.
Harris, Amy Klobuchar, and Beto O'Rourke all stopping by News 9 studios Friday throughout the day. Tom Steyer, Joe Biden, and Tulsi Gabbard also making stops across the state. Democratic Party Chairman Ray Buckley says this will be the largest political party event in the state's history.
It's just an exciting time. We have our congressional delegation, our elected officials, and Mayor Craig's going to, as the chair of the convention, kicks it off right at 9 a.m.
And the convention speeches will be live streamed on our Facebook page as well as our website. WMUR Political Director Adam Sexton and political reporter John DeStaso will be here tomorrow as well. It all kicks off at 9 a.m. Live in Manchester, I'm Charisse LeClaire, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And we will be sure to share that live stream with you on the Riley King Network Facebook page. And again, at 9 a.m. it all begins. And we have a lot of candidates in New Hampshire today, so let's take a look at your 2020 New Hampshire candidate tracker for September 7th, 2019. Let's see that full list. The first candidate we are talking about, Michael Bennett. He has 2 events today in New Hampshire. First event, attending New Hampshire Democratic Party State Convention at SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire at 9 a.m. Second event, meet and greet with Michael Bennett and special surprise guest at Portland Pie Company in Manchester at 3:30 p.m. Joe Biden attending New Hampshire Democratic Party State Convention at SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire at 9 a.m. Cory Booker, first event, meet and greet at Chesvacono in Manchester, New Hampshire at 7:30 a.m. in a little bit. His second event, attend New Hampshire Democratic Party State Convention at SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire at 10:06 a.m. His third event, Volunteer Appreciation Celebration at Shoppers Pub and Eatery in Manchester, New Hampshire at 12 p.m. His fourth event, Meeting with New Hampshire Faith Leaders in Manchester, New Hampshire at 1:15 p.m. And his fifth event, Attend Indonesia Festival in Somersworth, New Hampshire at 3:30 p.m. Steve Bullock, attending New Hampshire Democratic Party State Convention at SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire at 9 a.m. Pete Buttigieg has 5 events today in New Hampshire. His first event, speaking with Vote Veterans and Military Families Presidential Forum at Manchester Doubletree in Manchester, New Hampshire at 7 a.m. His second event, attending New Hampshire Democratic Party State Convention at SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire at 10 o'clock a.m. His third event, Picnic with Pete Buttigieg at Colvins Park in Manchester, New Hampshire at 2:30 p.m. His fourth event, Meet Pete event at Prescott Park in Portsmouth, New Hampshire at 4:30 p.m. And his fifth event, opening a new campaign office in Somersworth, New Hampshire at 5:45 p.m. Julian Castro has 2 events today in New Hampshire. His first event, speaking at Veterans and Military Families Presidential Forum at the Doubletree by the Hilton in Manchester, New Hampshire at 7:50 p.m. And his second event is attending New Hampshire Democratic Party State Convention at SNHU Arena, New Hampshire in Manchester, New Hampshire at 10:40 a.m. Bill de Blasio attending New Hampshire Democratic Party State Convention at SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire at 9 a.m. John Delaney attending New Hampshire Democratic Party State Convention at SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire at 9 a.m. Tulsi Gabbard has 2 events today in New Hampshire. Her first event, attending New Hampshire Democratic Party State Convention at SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire at 9 a.m. And her second event is a meet and greet at Murphy's Tap Room in Manchester, New Hampshire at 4:15 p.m. Kamala Harris has 2 events today in New Hampshire. Her first event, attending Veterans Forum sponsored by the Vote Vets and New Hampshire Democratic Veterans and Military Families Caucus at Doubletree, Manchester in Manchester, New Hampshire at 8:15 a.m. And her second event is attending New Hampshire Democratic Party State Convention at SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire at 11:25 a.m. Amy Cullen-Belcher has 1 event today in New Hampshire, attending New Hampshire Democratic Party State Convention at SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire at 9 a.m. Beto O'Rourke has 3 events today in New Hampshire. His first event, attending New Hampshire Democratic Party State Convention at SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire at 9 a.m. His second event, attending Indonesia Festival in Somersworth, New Hampshire. That is to be announced. And his third event, Town Hall at University of New Hampshire in Durham, New Hampshire at 4:30 p.m. Tim Ryan, attending New Hampshire Democratic Party State Convention at SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire at 9 o'clock a.m. Bernie Sanders. He has 2 events today in New Hampshire. First event, attending New Hampshire Democratic Party State Convention at SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire at 9 a.m. And his second event is Canvas Kickoff event at Central Owl House in Manchester, New Hampshire at 3 o'clock p.m. Joe Stark attending New Hampshire Democratic State Convention at SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire at 2:30 p.m. Tom Steyer attending New Hampshire Democratic Party State Convention at SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire at 12:50 p.m. Elizabeth Warren attending New Hampshire Democratic Party State Convention at SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire at 9 a.m. Marianne Williamson attending New Hampshire Democratic Party State Convention at SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire at 9 o'clock a.m. And Andrew Yang attending New Hampshire Democratic Party State Convention at SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire at 2:58 p.m. Those are all the candidates that are in New Hampshire today. That is a lot of candidates that will be in New Hampshire today. A big list. Dorian lashes New England after leaving NC's Outer Bank with catastrophic flooding. Hurricane Dorian is lashing the Massachusetts coast as it continues its northward path after making landfall Friday over Cape Hatteras, North Carolina. The tropical storm warning is in effect for Cape Cod and eastern Maine as the storm continues its track up the eastern seaboard Saturday morning. Still a Category 1 storm, Dorian was expected to brush by Massachusetts Nantucket Island with winds of 85 miles per hour. Viewers' choice. Best corn in New Hampshire. Let's take a look at that video.
We're here today to tell you good folks about Cozy Cabin Rustics Furniture and Mattress Bargain Barn. We only use real logs, hardwoods, and reclaimed barn boards to build our quality furniture. And the best prices on mattresses made by Simmons and Serta.
Now at 3 convenient locations. Yep.
Okay, and that's where the best corn is. If you want corn, go to any of those farms on the list to get the best corn. Grow it green, white clover. Let's take a look at that video from WMUR News 9.
Welcome to today's Grow It Green. We're at Apple Hill Farm in Concord. I'm joined by Emma Erler from UNH Cooperative Extension. Emma, for a lot of us, picture-perfect green lawn is the ideal, but you're going to tell us about some other things maybe we should consider adding to our lawn that would actually be beneficial, right?
Yeah, so something that's actually gaining popularity, Ray, is planting white clover in your lawn, believe it or not. Now, white clover actually used to be planted in lawns kind of before the 1950s, before the introduction of broadleaf herbicides, but now it has a resurgence in popularity.
Why is that? Why the resurgence, do you think?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest reasons is that clover can fix its own nitrogen in its root system. So that means it's taking nitrogen from the air and turning it basically into its own fertilizer. So that means you don't have to put down as much fertilizer on your lawn.
Okay, so that saves you some money as well. And the other thing is, we look at it too, it also attracts some things, doesn't it?
White clover also is great for pollinators. So all of these flowers, if you let them bloom, will attract a lot of different bees to your lawn, which if you're interested in attracting pollinators, that's great. And even if you're not, usually the bees that are in the lawn on white clover aren't interested in stinging you. They're just foraging.
Yeah, some people I know are worried about, having a lot of bees on their lawn or something, kids playing and stuff, but concern or not a concern?
Not really a big concern, yeah. They're not going to be aggressive when they're just foraging for food.
Okay. Is there any downside to the clover in terms of, will it cover up some other grasses and things I need to be concerned about? Is it going to be incredibly invasive?
Sometimes it can form large clumps that are just clover, but one thing you can do to prevent that is by keeping your lawnmower deck a little bit higher. So at 3 inches or so, that'll give the grass competitive advantage and make sure you don't have just a clover lawn.
What about in terms of watering? More or less the same?
Probably about the same. Clover doesn't like extreme drought, but you certainly don't have to water it more than you water your grass now.
Okay, so the benefits, maybe use a little less fertilizer, attracts pollinators, and the downside is maybe if you have a lot of kids playing on your lawn?
Maybe, all depends on your own personal preferences.
All right, so white clover may be something for you to consider for your lawn, and that's it for today's Grow It Green.
Okay, and there you go on Grow It Green. Let's take a look at your Cook's Corner from WMUR Almond Croissant French Toast. Let's take a look.
Welcome to Cook's Corner on the Road. We are in Salem at Barron's and Major Brands. And with us today from the Common Man, we have Chef Malik. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks again for having me.
You got a lot of stuff in front of us. What are we making?
Well, we're going to make some Grand Marnier Almond Croissant French Toast. And this is something that we're really focusing on for the farewell brunch at the Barn on the Pemmy.
Very nice.
And
right.
So, first thing is just a little bit of batter with some eggs, some heavy cream, just enough. Some brown sugar really gives it a little bit of depth. Yeah. And then we also give a little Grand Marnier. A little bit.
This is not one of those one for you, one for me kind of deals.
Well, not today.
Okay, not today. That's right. It's an afternoon show.
Just to bring out all the orange flavors, we have a little bit of orange zest as well.
Oh, very nice.
And just a little bit more depth, we give it some real New Hampshire maple syrup.
Well, there's no other type of maple syrup, is there?
Well, some people might say so, but we're here. So, once you get your batter ready, you really just pour it right over the almond croissants. Oh, this is perfect use for the next day's croissants. Something that you have left over at home if you had a nice family breakfast, have a little leftovers. It does benefit from being a little bit stale, a little bit dried out.
Holds up a little bit better?
Exactly, and really soaks up the batter. Then, in the oven, 350 for about 25 minutes. You do want to cover it.
Yeah.
You do want to cover it, and since we're working with a magic oven,
yes.
Voila.
Oh, look at that.
And comes out just perfect. We have a little bit of slice, and put that.
That's the size of a slice that I like. That's about right. It's like a third of the pan. That's perfect.
Absolutely. And again, we're serving this at the Barn on the Pemmy for the farewell brunch. It's a 300-person plus event space that we focus on weddings. Okay. Alex took apart the barn from down in Canterbury piece by piece, built it, And we're just doing some wonderful weddings out of there, and other events as well.
Yeah, beautiful venue down there.
Beautiful venue overlooking the Pemigewasset River. A little bit of white chocolate French toast, or white chocolate mousse over the French toast. A little bit more.
Oh, that's the orange shavings, actually.
Orange zest.
Oh, and more maple syrup.
More maple syrup. A little bit of almonds just to bring it out. I like to use Marcona almonds. And then just a little dust of powdered sugar.
That? Oh, that's fancy.
There we are.
Again, those are all my favorite food groups right there. Well, Chef, thank you so much. And stay tuned. We've got more coming up after the break.
Thanks.
Okay, there you go. That looks very yummy. I could go for that. Very yummy. And now let's take a look at your calendar of events happening today right in New Hampshire. The 40th Legend Dublin Gas Engine meet all day at Cricket Hill Farm. Danbury Garage and Community Fair, 7:30 a.m. at Blazing Star Garage Hall. Thunder Run 2019, all day at New England Dragway. The 2019 New Hampshire Get Your Rear in Gear Trail Run and Memorial, 9 a.m. at Golden Hill Farm. Concord, New Hampshire Kiwanis 34th Annual Antique and Classic Car Show, 9 o'clock a.m. Car Show. Neon Felt College Class with Melinda LeBegan, 9 a.m. in Meredith Community Center. Fall Fest / Yard Sale, 9 a.m. at Community Church of Durham. Monarch Festival, 9 a.m. at Prettiels in the Pines. Rollinsford Town Hall Tour, 9 a.m. Rollinsford Town Hall. And Plymouth Town-wide Yard Sale, 9 a.m. at Smith Bridge. And those are all the events happening today, right here in New Hampshire. And that is for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I'll be off air the rest of the day. I have an event I'm going to this evening, but I'll be back tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Saturday, everyone, and see you all tomorrow.